Hello, and welcome back to another not so creepy New Orleans tale. This tale tells of Miss Beatrice, a Sixth Ward legend in New Orleans, and how she saved her family from the destruction of Katrina. Now, Miss Beatrice was one of those neighborhood women who was mother and grandmother to everybody. She had lived and grown up, married, had her children, raised her grandkids, and even some great grandkids in the same neighborhood, on the same street, in the same house, her entire life. Now, Miss Beatrice was always at the ready with some grandmotherly love, motherly wisdom, or some very stern correction. Well respected and well loved, Miss Beatrice lived to the ripe old age of 97. She passed peacefully in her sleep 3 weeks before Katrina hit town. There was a beautiful ceremony to celebrate her life and lay her to rest, or so her family thought. With Katrina approaching, the city of New Orleans was gearing up for a very big problem. People were told to make preparations to evacuate. Some took it seriously, others did not. And Miss Beatrice's son James was one of those people who did not take it seriously. He and his wife had moved into Miss Beatrice's home, so they decided this would be a good place for everybody to just come and ride the storm out together. So they made preparations for about 20 family members to all come to Miss Beatrice's home and ride out the storm. Now, again, Miss Beatrice was always at the ready with stern correction, but she decided she was going to try the soft approach with James first, gently waking him from his sleep one night by standing at the edge of his bed and quietly calling his name, James, James, James. And finally he sat up and he turned and he looked, and shocked look on his face when he saw it was his mother. Of course, James thought he was dreaming and he rubbed his eyes, but Miss Beatrice was still there. And she told him quietly, calmly, James, you gotta go, my baby. You can't stay. This storm is a bad one. You gotta go. And with those words, she faded away. Now James, not thinking anything of it, thought to himself, I've been working a lot. I haven't been getting enough sleep. I miss my mother. So he drifted back off. Now at this point, Katrina was still just a few days away. And they continued preparing to stay home and ride the storm out because James was not convinced that Katrina was going to be as bad as they said it would be. So another night comes. James and his wife are in bed sleeping. And this time, Miss Beatrice goes to James' wife, gently touching her on her shoulder and shaking her awake. And of course, she shocked. Because there Miss Beatrice is standing just as solid as she was in life. And she points her finger and she says, Marianne, y'all got to go, my baby. This storm is a bad one. You got to leave. And with that, she faded back into the darkness. And Marianne shook James awake. And she says, James, I think I just had a dream or a vision of Mama Beatrice. She said, we gotta go. The storm is gonna be bad. And James just shook his head and said, baby, my mother is resting in peace. You're just missing her like the rest of us. Go back to sleep. We're gonna be fine. Listen to your mother, children. Dead or alive. So with just a couple of more days before Katrina hits landfall, the family has started to gather at the house. And James is barbecuing and preparing and having a good old time. And at the end of the evening, the family is all gathered in the living room, watching television, chattering amongst each other, calmly, just relaxing. And they settle in to watch a movie. And everyone gets focused on the television for their quiet family time. And then everybody jumps. Somebody's at the door. So James, being the man of the house, gets up and he looks out the peephole. And it's Miss Beatrice. And he jumps back. And everybody's saying, who is it? Who is it? And then they hear, y'all got to leave. And everybody recognized Miss Beatrice's voice. And they knew that tone just as well. In life and in her death, it did not change. James backed away from the door, flipped on the light, and he told everybody, pack your things. We got to go. And of course, we all know what happened. But Miss Beatrice's family was safe and sound. So, the next time you get a warning from beyond the grave, take heed. Don't ignore it. And do exactly as they say, Or else you might get a